GTA 6 now has a release date, and it's looking like PS5 Pro will be the best place to play it for some time after it launches. But will it sell units? We'll be digging into that, as well as the recent Xbox price increases on Next Gen Console Watch, coming up right after these messages. Welcome back to Next Gen Console Watch, our show following everything happening with the latest gaming hardware. I'm Daemon Hatfield, and this week I'm joined by Ryan McCaffrey, host of IGN's Xbox podcast Unlocked, and IGN's Senior Manager of Tech, Bo Moore, joins us. Welcome to you both. And in a bit, I want to get Ryan's thoughts on the cost of Xbox hardware and games going up, up, up. But first, by now, you've no doubt seen the second trailer for Grand Theft Auto 6. It's looking very impressive. The trailer was captured on a PS5. Looks like it's all cutscenes, which isn't the same thing as controllable gameplay, but it's looking very nice. Everyone is getting excited, myself included. So at launch, it's coming to PS5, PS5 Pro, and Xbox Series X and S. There's no PC release date in sight. The PC version of GTA 5 took about 18 months to arrive for comparison. So it looks like the PS5 Pro will be the best place to play GTA 6 for quite a while after it arrives on May 26, 2026. Ryan said on this very show months ago that he would be getting a PS5 Pro for GTA 6, and true to his word, he has traded in his launch PS5 Pro for a Pro. Is that right, Ryan?
It is true. I will have the visual proof behind me by next week's episode, as my puppy wants to be on the show
excited.
as well.
Very excited
she's
for the PS5 Pro.
super excited about the Pro that's in our house now. I just haven't had a moment to set it up yet. But yes, I indeed, once the Xbox price hikes happened, I thought, well, it's there's now an Xbox Series X that costs more than the PS5 Pro.
Yep.
So I'd be stunned if Sony does not follow suit and raise prices. So I just acted fast while there was still stock at my local GameStop, and while trade-in values were still decent on the vanilla disc PS5 that I've had for the last 5 years. And I've now got a PS5 Pro, and then literally the next day, the release date got announced of May of 2026. So I'm fine with just having it now, because I really think it's going to go up in price by at least $100 here in the very, very probably near future. Even if it doesn't, that's fine, because I wanted it for GTA 6 anyway, and now any other PlayStation games I play in the meantime will be higher fidelity. But yeah, no, this I am such a fan of GTA 6, as I've said here before. I'm personally, GTA 3 was one of those like paradigm shift games in my gaming life where it just completely changed my perspective on gaming and what it could be. And I think GTA 5 is one of the 10 best games ever made, period. And so I'm so excited for 6. Obviously, the wait has been very long here, more than a decade since 5. And so... I want the best GTA 6 day one experience possible. If those of you out there with great PCs have the willpower to wait for the PC version, I commend you. I do not have that willpower. So PS5 Pro is the way to go for me. And I suspect, I mean, I know not everybody's going to do that, but GTA 6 is going to be the biggest deal for a lot of people. They're video games that are getting out of its way release date wise. Like, nobody wants to go up against this thing. So I suspect I'm not going to be the only one out there that's going to upgrade to the PS5 Pro solely or primarily for GTA 6.
I was surprised at how much GameStop gave you for your launch PS5. Are you can you share what?
Yeah, I mean, your mileage may vary, right? Because I think it depends on the condition of it and this, that, and the other thing. But again, it was a day one disc drive PS5, and it was, let me make sure I get the number right here, $319 for a 5-year-old console. That's better than I would have guessed going in.
Yeah, me too.
So I'll take it. It softens the blow of the $700 PS5 PS5 Pro.
Yeah, of course. So, Bo, you have some experience with PS5 Pro as well. What was your reaction to the trailer number 2, which was released yesterday from when we were taping this? A lot of people are saying it looks very impressive. It's captured on a PS5, but it is, of course, it appears to be all cutscenes. What was your takeaway from that trailer?
Yeah, I mean, it looks great. But I think it's absolutely all cutscenes. Either that or the in-game gameplay looks very, very impressive. But whether or not this thing can be played at 60 FPS, that's really the question. And even on PS5 Pro is the question, like, yeah, can it be played at 60 FPS? It all depends on the tuning. It's that was with the PS5 Pro, Sony left the choice of what their games are going to be played at to the developers. And so if Rockstar puts in a 4K 60 FPS mode, then it'll run at 4K 60 FPS. But that means that we'll potentially be losing out on some other effects. It's all about the scaling of the ray tracing and the particle effects and all the lighting, whatever they choose to put into that mode. Any game could be, you can run something very lightweight at 4K at 60 FPS easily, but it, isn't going to be looking as impressive. It's all in the graphical techniques that they've. Every graphical technique you add adds a performance cost to the playability of the game, and it's just going to be whatever Rockstar tunes it to be. Will the PS5 Pro run it at 4K 60 FPS? I don't know, but it might.
I know, Bo, this is kind of an obvious thing to most people, but just listening to you, it's only just now dawned on me that this will be the first time any mainline GTA has launched with some PC-like options on one of the platforms, like that we might actually get a quality mode and a performance mode to choose from on day one if you're playing on PS5 Pro, which will present an interesting dilemma for a lot of people, I think.
Yeah, that's true. Considering that this is going to be coming pretty late in the life cycle of this generation, we'll probably be able to compare it to some of the games that launched, late in the PS4, Xbox One, Xbox One generation. I can never remember at this point. But the games that were coming out on PS4 Pro and on Xbox One. Oh my God, I can't remember it anymore.
The One X.
One X, right. Thank you. Those were the games where we did start to see a performance mode. They were letting you choose the graphics at 30 FPS or performance at 60 FPS. And then on the base PS4 and the base Xbox One, you just got the whatever they gave you. It was usually just a 30 FPS performance mode or something. Kind of depended on the game. So that may be what we end up seeing here, is that you get a again, it depends on what Rockstar chooses to do. So what I'm guessing though is that on the base PS5 and the base Xbox Series X, you will get a single performance mode, probably a 30 FPS at some quality level, and then on the PS5 Pro, you will get the quality mode at 30 FPS, the best looking version, and then a 60 FPS version that is slightly less good looking. Or, but it all depends on what they choose to do.
Well, our friends at Digital Foundry have said that they don't expect even the PS5 Pro to be able to run GTA 6 at 60 frames per second. Regardless, the PS5 Pro should be, it should be running better, and it should have higher visual fidelity than either the PS5 or the Xbox Series X. However, it occurs to me that if this Xbox handheld arrives, and images of a third-party ROG Ally Xbox handheld were leaked just today, then all of a sudden, Xbox is the only way to play a portable GTA 6, right? And that would be a pretty big deal for the Xbox version,
well,
right? Yes, no,
maybe.
Yeah,
I think Bo can better explain this, but basically, it's a Windows. It might not be an Xbox handheld per se.
It all depends on what the Xbox handheld is, which we don't know yet. I'm expecting it to be an Xbox branded but Windows handheld. It may have some nice integrations with the Xbox versions of games, with the Play Anywhere, and making sure that it's super set up to work with Game Pass really well. But at the end of the day, I'm expecting the Xbox ROG Ally to be a Windows handheld, which means it will be running the eventually PC version of GTA 6, and it will not be running the Xbox console version. But we don't know. Like, it's possible that that Xbox comes out with this. Maybe it is something that runs the console version of these games, and if that's the case, then yeah, that would be a handheld version of GTA 6. The other way, I guess, would be if you wanted to play on PS5 or PlayStation Portal, but that's still a streaming type option.
Yeah. If this were the official in-house first-party Xbox handheld that we now, we've had the leak that we are expecting at the start of the next generation, then I might hold out a little bit more hope that it would be something that runs the actual console version of the games. But even that I expect is probably going to just be running the PC version, since Xbox ships everything they do on both now. But yeah, with this third party, just officially licensed Xbox accessory, that's basically what it is. I'm with you, Bo. I would be stunned if it's anything but a Windows-based device, and thus probably not going to be playing GTA on it until Rockstar gets around to shipping the actual PC version.
Got it. All right, there's one more topic on GTA 6 I want to cover. But first, let's take a little detour into Xbox prices. They're raising the prices across the board with all their hardware, and they even say they're going to be raising the prices of games in the not too distant future. So basically, all Xbox hardware went up about 20%. The Xbox Series X base model is now $600. I have all the prices out here. You mentioned the one that's higher than the PS5 Pro. That is the Xbox Series X 2 terabyte Galaxy Special Edition, which is $730 now, $30 more than the PS5 Pro. The basic Xbox Series S is now $380. So they even raised the prices of their controllers and their headsets. So basically, Ryan, it's pretty insane that this console family is almost 5 years old now.
Yeah.
And they're raising the prices, whereas console prices used to go down over time. And this is all in spite of the fact that if I'm being honest, I think you would agree, Xbox consoles were not exactly flying off the shelves to begin with.
Exactly.
Yeah, so
exactly.
What's your read on all this?
It is clear that Microsoft is no longer able, they're no longer willing, because they're definitely able as a $1 trillion plus market value company, but they're no longer willing to take any loss on the hardware in the interests of selling more software, the old razor blade model. That is no longer something, which that's how the Xbox started, and that's how traditionally pretty much every console historically has operated that way. The original Xbox famously lost a ton of money per box, but they knew they had to do it just to get their foot in the door, and it worked, right? And then the 360 came along, and that whole program became profitable, and the Xbox was established, and here we are 20 plus years later, still talking about and playing games on Xbox. But Microsoft is now, and it's reflected in their "we're putting our games everywhere" strategy, whether it's, again, putting them on PlayStation 5 or Nintendo Switch or Switch 2 or PC, or even the cloud, just streaming through your phone. It's Microsoft will meet you wherever you are, because, well, just selling and keeping their games on their own hardware only isn't working for them anymore, and that's not the way the market's going. So, yeah, I guess Microsoft is content to just say, well, yeah, we're fine potentially selling fewer of our own consoles, and we'll just make it up by selling more copies on PlayStation or on PC. But it's a shame, Damon, because it's this hobby of ours that we all love so much, and I mean, we've all been fortunate enough to make a career out of it, make a living out of it, and it's I just don't want to see it in the long term price people out. Like Brian Altano and I did a conversation on this that's on IGN. You can watch it on YouTube, where like the long-term ramifications of this. And by the way, this is not a thing that's unique to Xbox. We're talking about Xbox because they've just raised the prices. For whatever it may be worth, I fully expect Sony to follow suit here, probably sooner rather than later, because as you noted, Damon, the PlayStation was already outselling the Xbox by a very, very wide margin at price parity.
Right.
There's really no business reason for Sony to want to just keep the prices where they are at and say, well, we're going to undercut them and sell even more. No, they probably won't. They're probably going to keep selling as many as they're going to sell. So they will almost certainly raise the prices now that Microsoft has done so. But yeah, the long-term ramifications of this on our hobby, on this art form, are a little concerning. I mean, maybe it's overblown because our generation still thinks about platform loyalty to some extent, whereas the new generation is happy to just play something, Fortnite, Minecraft on their phone, on their iPad, on a computer that's nearby, on a console if it's handy. So maybe it won't ultimately matter that these set-top boxes that we love playing games on are going up in price and potentially pricing some people out. But it's certainly, you're not going to find anybody cheering this. I don't even know if maybe like a really heavily invested Microsoft shareholder would cheer this on. I can't think of anybody outside of that, though. Any normal gamer is certainly not going to defend this move by Microsoft. So it's a shame, and it's not like they went up a little bit. They went up a lot. I mean, the Series X, okay, you can get one for the digital one for $550, which is still that's still 10% more than the day one disc version of the Series X, and yeah, $600 for the disc Series X. And I mean, that 2 terabyte one that you mentioned, that's now $730. I've said on Unlocked, I didn't think anybody was buying that at $600, and now I can't imagine who's paying $730 for it. But there's just nothing. There's nothing to defend. There's nothing good about this.
Bo, do you agree with Ryan? Do you expect Sony to follow suit and raise price on hardware?
I think absolutely. Like you said, there's no reason not to. They were already outselling them. They can beat them. Honestly, they could still beat them on price, but like they could raise their prices without and still undercut them if they wanted to. But most likely they'll just, raise the PS5 to probably, I mean, that's the thing. Like you said, the PS5 could go up to something like 600. That's still undercutting the Series X, and then or matching, I guess, the base one,
right,
versus the 2 terabyte one. And then the PS5 Pro, like we said at the top, getting that for getting 300 some on a trade-in, and then out the door for 400 for a PS5 Pro from through a trade-in situation, that seems like a steal. And I think that was absolutely the right move to get it before the prices change, because it's got to change. Assuming that the global economic situation stays as is, which to be clear, this is why, or almost certainly why, these prices were gone up, is because of tariffs that have hit the American market but basically the world. And so yeah, they're absolutely going to do it because they can and because they have to.
Well, it's crazy. Just a couple weeks ago, we were talking about how expensive the Nintendo Switch 2 seemed, and now all of a sudden it doesn't seem quite as expensive. Funny how that works. So Xbox has also said they're going to be raising prices on games to $80 later this year. So which brings us back to GTA 6. Now, what does this tell us about what do we think GTA 6 is going to cost when it launches on May 26, 2026? It seems like $80 is the bare minimum they would release that for. What do we think, Ryan?
I've said this before. I wouldn't be surprised if it's $100 game, and I said that before Nintendo and Microsoft raised their game prices. I'm not rooting for it. I'm not saying, hey, yay, I want to pay $100 for GTA 6, but if you're 2K and Take-Two, parent company of Rockstar, and you see what Nintendo's doing, you see what Microsoft's doing, the demand for GTA 6, it's going to be the single biggest day in entertainment history, the day it launches, in terms of dollars. It's going to crush any movie that's ever come out. Of course, games cost more than movie tickets, but what this is going to be, and it's I wouldn't be surprised in the slightest if the base version of the game is $100, and they will almost certainly sell a digital deluxe of some kind, probably could be $150. I wonder if they'll venture into the physical collector, have some sort of fancy in-game, fancy physical version of some in-game thing that's like a $250 collector's edition. But as far as the base game goes, yeah, you're right. I mean, 80 is the minimum certainly, but I think Take-Two is going to charge a premium. It's just a question of, is it going to be a $10 premium? So is it going to be a $89 game, or are they going to go for $100? Neither would surprise me.
Bo, what do you think?
I have to agree. I mean, the thing that I always have to remember, though, is that we've been lucky with $60 games for so long, because games have been that price for basically as long as we can remember. It was 50 and 60. And you can look back even in the, I recently saw somebody posted it on Reddit or Twitter or somewhere. It was an ad for, I want to say, Chrono Trigger from like EB Games or something back in the 90s, and that game was $70, maybe even 80. And I remember when N64 games, there were a couple of N64 games that were 70 or 75.
Conker's Bad Fur Day, right, Daemon? Wasn't that one of them?
I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah, I don't remember exactly,
so.
but I mean, I know I paid $80 for Sega Genesis games. In certain ones.
And so the fact that we were paying that premium, and at the time, that was a $20 premium on what was otherwise a $50 game, or that was sort of the norm at the time. And that was in the 90s and the early 2000s. That was 20, almost 30 years ago, over 30 years ago. And so the fact that we've been getting by at $60 for 30 years, basically, is incredible. The games, honestly, again, I'm not going to cheer for it, but games should have been $100 probably 10 years ago.
$87.98 for Killer Instinct.
Yeah, in a vacuum, you're absolutely right, Bo, that we kind of have gotten off easy in recent decades. But I guess my cynical issue with that, not with you or what you're saying, but just with the market, is if these $80 games, or in GTA 6's case higher, if it meant that we weren't going to get any like bullshit microtransactions, that would be one thing. Like, okay, I'm paying more and I'm getting everything in the box at once, and you're not going to nickel and dime me later. I have no faith that microtransactions are suddenly going to go away. And if higher game prices also meant that studios and game developer jobs were going to be more secure moving forward, that would also make me a lot more okay with paying more for games. But I also, in this age of corporate executives getting 8-figure paydays with 8-figure stock bonuses, and shareholders needing continually more value for their share price, I have no faith that this extra money is going to actually go towards keeping developers and studios safe and secure and happy and well compensated for the art that they make. Maybe I'm just getting old and cynical, but the world we're in now, it's tough. I hope that Nintendo, I guess Nintendo's the one that they don't lay people off, so maybe I shouldn't necessarily lump Nintendo in here, but Microsoft has certainly laid off plenty of people. Pretty much the entire rest of the industry has been doing it as well. So I hope Microsoft and the rest of the industry proves me wrong, but I can't help but take a very cynical attitude towards these software price increases.
Yeah, and every country has their own they do their own best place to work lists, and Nintendo consistently is on the best places to work in Japan. Interestingly enough, May 26th, the release date for GTA 6. I think this is the only game that has an exact date in 2026 as of this time. It'll be interesting to see who dares to pick a date near GTA 6. But coincidentally, it's right in the middle of two big movie releases within days. There's a Mandalorian Grogu movie, Star Wars, and then an untitled DC movie are within days of the GTA 6 release. And I don't know, GTA 6 I think is big enough to cause one of them to blink. Everyone's going to be staying home playing GTA 6 instead of going to the movies, right?
DC should 1,000% move. There's just I don't care what it is. If it's, we know it's not the Batman Part 2, even if it was. Disney maybe, that's the Disney audience with the Mandalorian and Grogu. Maybe not a ton of overlap there. I certainly love GTA and the Mandalorian, but Yeah, they might stick, but boy, DC, as soon as James Gunn, somebody needs to just send a little memo over to James Gunn. Or maybe we should tweet at him after this and just let him know, like, hey, you might want to reconsider that May 2026 release that you've got on the calendar.
Yeah, that's good. Okay, dear viewer, we want to know, where do you plan on playing GTA 6? On PS5, PS5 Pro, on Xbox, eventually on PC, or maybe even on Nintendo Switch 2 someday? We want to know. Make sure to vote at IGN.com the day this episode goes live. We'll share the results with you next episode, just like we can with last episode's poll. We want to know, what is your game of the year so far? And, interestingly, with over 41% of the vote, at number 1 was Clair Obscur Expedition 33. That's beating out Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, Assassin's Creed Shadows, Split Fiction, The Blueprints, and Monster Hunter Wilds, all the way down to the bottom. Yeah, good list of games. I'm curious for both of you. Bo, what's your game of the year so far?
It's Blueprints for me.
There you go. Very, very cool. Good game. Ryan, how about you?
I'm only just getting started with Clair Obscur after just hearing everybody rave about it, so I can't really weigh in on that. But so with that caveat, it's Split Fiction for me so far. I just had an absolute blast playing through that with my daughter. I think it's the best of the Joseph Fares games, the Hazelight games so far, and it was phenomenal.
It's either Split Fiction or Assassin's Creed Shadows for me. I also had a great time playing Split Fiction with my son. Now is a great time to grab some amazing deals through Humble, where every purchase helps support charity. This May, check out the Doom and Wolfenstein Mayhem Bundle. Pay just $28 to unlock the complete Doom and Wolfenstein collections. The bundle now also includes Doom VFR, Wolfenstein Cyberpilot, Wolfenstein Youngblood, and a $10 coupon for the IGN store. As a Choice member, you'll also save up to 20% in the Humble store, including on new releases, pre-orders, and big sales. Whether you're shopping the store, grabbing bundles, or subscribing to Choice, every purchase supports a great cause. Also, remember IGN Live is coming up June 7th and 8th here in Los Angeles. Come see all your favorite IGN shows live. Go to IGN.com/live and use promo code NGCW for a special $15 ticket price. If you're watching this video, just scan the QR code on your screen. That's our show. Thank you to both Ryan and Bo for joining me today. Thank you to everyone working behind the scenes to make this episode possible. My name is Daemon. We'll be back next week with more on the latest in gaming hardware. We'll see you then. This episode of Next Gen Console Watch was produced by myself, Damon Hadfield, and Jobert Atienza. Technical direction is by Jobert Atienza, with technical production by Marian Franzen and Amir Rakib. Audio engineering is handled by Amir Rakib. Post-production editing is by Jobert Atienza, and graphic design is by Justin Vachon. Next Gen Console Watch is an IGN production and part of the Geek Media Network.